Hello everyone, welcome to a regular SONM question and answer session. Here we have Igor Lebedev, SONM CTO, and Eugenio Alongi, SONM Marketing Director. And my name is Vitaly and I will conduct this Q&A session. And first question is most burning question, and it's about when will the security audit be completed? When will SONM be integrated in major exchanges? Polo, Bittrex. Eugenio, can you handle this?
Yes, so the security audit was completed, was successful. Now we are using the result actually to engage with the major exchanges. Already last week you have seen that we have been listed in KuCoin, that is one of the fastest exchanges in Asia. Also, there is a fresh listing on the top 10 exchanges in the world that is happening in the next few days. There will be a press release soon on this. We are actively trying to list us on all the majors. Obviously, you know, there are some procedures now to follow. Now it's a bit longer than it was even some months ago, but we are trying to find a way, and we actually found the way to get there. We cannot mention now the one that we're going to be listed in the next few days, but I can assure you is one of the top one in the world, and is going to be also in one area that is a fast-growing area for cryptocurrency. Stay tuned with us. You will see this coming very soon.
Next question we just received from Jens Kruger in Twitter. Our CTO mentioned something like the real deal is the MVP, as there will be whitelisting for early customers. And the second part, can you confirm that Faster and Selectel and other partners will already use the SONM network with real computational power? Are we live soon? Igor?
The short answer is yes. The longer I need to explain. Like when we started working on SONM, we soon realized that we need to focus on the customer, the companies and groups of people who will pay the money to the system, who will bring the money into the system, because we have relatively great interest for our system from the supplier side. Some people are already ready to provide their mining rigs, but we need to focus on the customers. And when we talk about launching in the August of the next year, we mean that this is a system for public with working grading systems, with some balancing of the economical incentives and other things. But this is for public, it must be very secure. But we understand that we must provide early access to partners, and because time matters, so we would like to bring our key partners to the system ahead of this release. So we are thinking about, I will not say the direct dates, because this is we agreed, so I don't mention any dates. But yes, we would like to bring our partners soon to the system, and majorly ahead of the summer. And yes, about Selectel and other companies, at least we are working with them to provide them early access. We are currently calculating and estimating how many mining rigs or whatever other hardware will they require and what could be its costs. So we will handle these things like manually. We will provide enough amount of suppliers and whatever customers we can get, and they would be already operating in the system on the test segment by the whitelist. You know, we will have two testnet segments. One is the public segment allowed for anyone, and another is whitelisted for our key customers, so they will have the hardware they require. So in this way, we would like to target our market from the customer side. We would like to start working ahead of time.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you, Jens, for this question. Now we have security question. How will you provide the security of the data in the hosting? And the second question is, it's all about this. Are there any currently research approaches for untrusted remote computations, e.g. code should be not readable or alterable by the root user?
Okay, this is a complex question, There are a couple of approaches and answers here. First, of course, if you're an IT specialist, you understand that whenever a virtual machine or a Docker container executes on the third party site, like on some home computer or whatever, it's all about the trust to that party. So we will have different parties as hubs, as suppliers providing their hardware, and this is about whether you trust them or not. For example, there would be some kind of anonymous hubs, or there would be some branded hubs. So if you trust like centralized cloud computers, you may trust the hubs from the same companies. Next, of course, technically, if some Docker containers are running on your hardware, on your operating system, you have access. Technically, it is possible to intrude inside and see what's going on. So there are two solutions for this. There is no currently an industry-wide solution to make it surely solved, but the first approach is that this is application specific. For example, I will give you an example. There is an application called Proton Mail. It's like Gmail, but made by some scientists from the CERN, like Hadron Collider, and they made encryption in the browser. So the data on the server, on the backend, it's encrypted, so server cannot get inside, and still he can process the data, because he can send and receive emails, but he cannot see what's going on inside, and the data is decrypted and encrypted in the browser. So this is like an example what can be handled on the application side. And next, we are making a couple of researches, namely two different researches to provide trusted hardware zone. One of them is linked with the trusted platform model by Intel, and another I will not disclose at this moment, but we are doing some research. So if we would be able to make an example of a trusted hardware, this will completely solve the question. For example, the host owner would not have access to his operating system. If we will be able to do this, this will solve the whole question. So this is it. So currently there are two workarounds at this moment. You either trust the hardware supplier if it is a branded company, or you do it on the application side. And when we will be ready to do a hardware solution, we will tell about it.
And we know that this is a major, a major achievement that we are trying to get.
Yeah,
because it's going to open a lot about possible application of our solution. So we understand that is one of the top.
Definitely.
We are trying to.
Definitely, and I would like to say more. We have a very dedicated specialist of very high professional level who is currently working on research on this topic, on the hardware trusted platform.
Thank you, guys. Eugenio, can you give us any updates on marketing plans?
Okay, yes. So I can tell you that our strategy it is to release big marketing plans when big things are happening. You will see in the next couple of weeks, starting very soon, that we will actually produce a big marketing increase in overall in the network, because there will be something that I'm sorry that I have to be vague on this, but I have to be there will be something that is going to hit the network. And in concomitance with this major release, we will have a big campaign going on both on social networks and also in major PR companies. So the marketing plan, at least until the end of this year, and also the beginning of the new year, you will see much more compared to what it was done so far. So everything is budget, everything is already there and ready to go. We are just waiting for an official communication. You will wait also for this is coming, and then big marketing plans are hitting. These one are going to be global and are going to interest both developers, both people of the cloud community, high-tech community, and also crypto community. So there is a very holistic plan that is going to hit the market in the next few days, starting next few days. And if I can say, in terms of marketing plan, we don't have to forget also that we in the in the last months, we have been also going around a lot and using our possibility actually to take part to different conferences. But probably there is a question on this even later, so I will park again this one.
Yeah, we have question, but now question for Igor. What are your thoughts about other projects like IOTA? They are working on fog computing too. Are they competitors? Would you consider moving SON on the Tangle? And second similar question, do you consider a partnership with IOTA now that it has partnered with Microsoft?
Okay, of course there are a lot of projects and new projects appear every day, and it's really hard to even keep in just updated with understanding what's going on around. But about IOTA, I personally like this project, and I like that they are different. They are not the common blockchain you may know. They have their different approach to how to keep update data, and I like it. But for our purposes, for the purposes of SON, we need a little bit something different, at least from our current understanding. At now, we need smart contracts, and this is not something they have at this moment. But I like their zero fees, and I like their way of updating information, and we are closely watching for this system. Perhaps if we could rewrite the business logic to a stage where we don't require smart contracts, this could be in some degree possible, but I'm not sure this is optimal for us. So for us, the current optimal solution is a smart contract. For some reasons, the answer would be long, but we are closely watching them. So this is it.
Our audience is asking, where is Sergey Van Marov?
He's working.
Not here.
He's working.
Yeah, I've seen him today. Actually,
yeah.
He wanted to take part in this Q&A, but it's like we were preparing some bigger stuff for him. So he's fine. And the next question.
And you know, at this moment, we can handle all the questions, because if we have some questions that we cannot handle, we will bring him in.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about delegation.
Okay. Question about competitors. How does SON compare to other supercomputer competitors? For example, iExec and Golem.
And
Any
this
updates in this vision?
And this one, we really have it over, we post it because it's a recurring question. The good thing is that we are actually working on this.
Yeah, of course, there are a couple of projects from both worlds, from the common IT world of cloud providers and from the blockchain-based projects. And the whole differences list would be big, but I will try to focus on a couple of most essential things. So let's look at the Golem and the iExec. Personally, I like both of the projects, and I think all of these projects have future, but we're doing something different from them. For example, both Golem and iExec, this is a grid-based system. I mean that in the essence, in the internal, they have an approach of a grid system. You have to write your application in such a way that it can be scheduled over multiple machines, and you can split the work and then combine it back with the results. So to make this working, they provide a platform, and you are required to rewrite your application in such a fashion. If you do so, if you rewrite your application as a grid system, it would be efficiently working over there. But this is not usable for any kind of situation. It's not really usable for any kind of servers. Like if you have a web server, the grid architecture is not really optimal for you. The difference from our side is that we provide infrastructure, the service on the bottom layer. On the top would be the platform and other things. But as an infrastructure, we are capable of launching virtually any kind of software as a virtual machines. Current implementation of the virtual machines is a Docker container, but later we are working to provide different kinds of virtualization, namely KVM, and we are looking towards Kubernetes and OpenStack, because the business logic of our system is abstracted from the virtual machine, so we can do we just started from the Docker. So we provide infrastructure. You may run any kind of software, and in some cases even without modification, so just basically Linux software. And the next major difference is the economical model and the payment method. For example, if you are working with a grid system, it all started from the Boeing, from the SETI at home and that kind of thing. So Golem and the iExec, they develop and bring this model to the crypto world. They try to monetize the idea of grid. And this is a good approach, and this may work. But in this kind of solutions, the customer, I mean the people who run these computations, they pay for each task. For example, you run one task, you pay for it, and as a hardware supplier, you receive money for one execution unit. So if you've done one execution unit, you receive 1 coin, or 2 coins for 2 execution units. And if you don't have tasks, you don't receive money. So in our case, this is different. We are building a market for computational powers that are rented for a time term. For example, you have 2 cores, you have 4 gigabytes of memory, and you would like to rent them for a whole week or for a whole month. And if you do so, you have obligations to provide this hardware, and your customer is able to launch any kind of software for the whole month. And on top of that, basically, we can place a grid system like Golem or Exact, because this is possible. I mean that we are providing a little bit lower level infrastructure. It allows anything. And one of the things we are looking to the future is to build our own stack for grid applications, because we can do this on our infrastructure. So it's more flexible and different payment method. And another key difference is that Golem and Exact, they focus on using the free resources of the computer. Like when you're working, you have a slider, you can give free resources to the system, and whenever you need these resources, you can draw them back, and you don't have obligations because you receive payments for one task executed as a supplier. But in SONM, we say the following way. If you provide the hardware, you better provide it everything, because this is all about economics. You would either like to earn money or you don't. If you are going to earn money with the hardware, you need to provide it for the whole time, because you cannot either maximize the output of this. And the second point is that if you provide your hardware for someone, you have a deal, you have an obligation to provide it for some time term. You cannot just move the slider back because you have a deal. So this is the basic differences, and a lot of other things, they are dependent on these answers. And one of the other points is the support of the hardware. We provide CPU, GPU, RAM, disks, and network. And if you look at the Golem and the Exact, at this particular moment, they have plans to support other hardware. But at this point, for example, Golem, they're using only CPU and memory and RAM. And for example, Exact, perhaps I'm wrong, but that they are not using GPU at this moment. So we make it possible for a supplier, people to use all of the hardware for rent. So there are a lot of differences, but this is most essential. The different architecture.
Guys, we got 2 questions from YouTube chat, and it's about NAM platform.
Yeah.
Are you going to use NAT platform? Are you going to partner with them? Or so any news about NAM?
Yeah, you know, we have discussed this question a couple of times. For example, I was talking about this in our public chat in English, and we had an interview with Cryptolark, a blogger from YouTube. By the way, hello to Cryptolark. And we say that at this moment we need smart contract because our business logic relies on this. So we are working with Ethereum, and we see Ethereum as some kind of the future system. We are waiting for them to scale their problems and to make sharding and other things. So for us, this is not a question of today to move to NAM, but we know this system, we understand its pros and cons, but this is currently a plan C. If Ethereum would not be able to scale, we will consider moving to a private Ethereum blockchain, or like we have some options. We like NAM, this is a good system, but we are not thinking about using it today. Perhaps it could be if Ethereum fails and if private Ethereum fails, so we have to think about something. In that case, perhaps.
And now we close to the next question: partnership status, conference list updates, and overall strategy. Eugenia.
So regarding the partnership, have you seen? I'm sure you have seen in the last weeks that we have released on our channel partnership we've done with Storj and the Nuco. There are why I wanted to combine this with this answer with the conferences is because We, as I was saying before, we have gone through stages of conference participation in London, in Dubai, and in Santa Clara, in which we have met very interesting companies that actually are proposing them to become some kind of partnership with us. So we received a lot, really a lot of requests. What we are doing is simply ranking them, prioritizing them, what is our strategy, what are the ones that are going to be achievable earlier and also in a more effective way for SONM. And the other one, sorry, the other part of the question?
Overall?
Well, regarding actually the conference, I still want to say this. It is actually about our strategy to leverage more the community. So we, by the end of this year, we will publish a draft list of the conferences with which SONM will take part in 2018. And this is because first we want to have also your feedback on that. And also because this is linked to the way we want to use the community to actually engage local people to take part to these conferences. You will see that there will be roughly 20 conferences, roughly, that we will take part in 2018, and the difference between what has been done so far and what we will do later is that they are going to be more balanced between blockchain-based conferences and cloud conference, so IT cloud conferences. So more on this will come in the next few weeks, and I really will encourage you, if you want to get in touch with us, please join us at the conference. There will be also some other program that with the community we will kick off soon, and so you will be busy participating even actively to create our branding at the conferences.
But we will announce it later.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I am the guy currently that is kind of really blocked, because when we are meeting here and we can disclose a plan that are already been disclosed, and probably I can explain why we took certain decisions versus others. But what is about the future, and there are a lot of documentation, a lot of legal things that cannot be signed, I cannot obviously disclose. But trust us that there are things going on, and actually you can see it right after our Q&A. If you browse our releases on Facebook or on all our social medias, you can see the activities have been increased, and we have plans month by month increasing. As we have planned, actually, if you see around us, the team is increasing. We are increasing because we are hiring new people, both from a development point of view, but also from a marketing PR point of view. We have new people join us, Anthony from UK, and there are also new things happening over there. You will see the outcome, and I think you're already seeing the outcome of our effort directly in the work that we are delivering.
Thank you, Eugenia. Next question, a bit messy. I don't know. Are the superiors also in the role as Scrum Masters, like Sergey for Team Smart Contracts? Do you have one product owner in total, Igor?
Yeah, okay. I think this is another question from Jens, who is a certified Scrum Master and Agile Specialist. So I think this question is about our new published team structure, where we have a group of people who look like to be team leaders, and the question is about whether they are Scrum Masters. No, they are not. They're kind of team leaders. They all are different, the teams are different, but Scrum Mastering is not about that. They group tasks on them, they like lead the people, but this is not about Scrum Masters. We have another group of people who partly solve the role of Scrum Mastering. Scrum Masters, yeah. So, and about the product owners, formally we have one product owner, it's Eugene Manaev, but of course he cannot handle this alone, so I partly take the knowledge of the product vision, and another person is Anastasia, our senior analyst. So there is basically a group of people who share product vision and Eugene is just one of them, like chief of them, the leading of them, but we share this knowledge. And if we look at our Scrum teams, we have 4 teams. For example, if we talk about the wallet, Anastasia leads this from the product point of view. She writes the requirements and she thinks about the features of the wallet. And if we talk about, for example, smart contracts, it's, for example, Eugene working there. If we think about like the core system, the hub and the miner, it's me working with them as someone from the product. And as an integration, Eugene again, so we share this. And in some degree, as a product owners, we are in some degree interchangeable. So if I'm on the conference or Eugene is away, we can partly replace each other from the product vision.
And also I want to add that actually we are also having a lot of very multifunctional team approach. So whenever, yes, we have team leaders or people who are actually in charge of delivering particular updates, particular products, we actually then have updates regularly with the marketing team so that we make sure that everybody has the point of view from the business side, marketing side, finance side, and also obviously from the technical side. So this is something, I would say it's one major key point to make sure that our solutions are going to be as complete as possible when they are going to hit the markets.
Yeah, and by the way, about the Scrum, we don't say that we use particular Scrum, not Scam, but Scrum. This is an agile methodology, just to make some distinction. We say that we use Agile. Agile is a general approach of like an alternative to waterfall or RAP, like methodologies of software development. So I mean that we are development in Agile mode. There are some key values of this methodology, like to be close to the product, to be close to the customer, to like provide documentation later and now do the code. Like, so our requirements are changing fast and we don't have some exact customers, so we have to research it, and everything changes a lot while we are doing. So we are doing short sprints. For example, we meet on Tuesdays and we decide what to do for a week. Then we work for a week. The developers are writing things which are obvious at the start of the week, and while the product owner and the analytics, they are researching the next steps. So next we meet on next Tuesday and we decide what to do next, and we already have a couple of things working by the week spent. So this is how Agile works. But if you ask what is the alternative, alternative is to do a 1 year development and then after 1 year to roll out the product and hope that the market will need this. So we do the other way, we have week cycle.
Yeah.
Thank you, Igor. The question from YouTube chat. How will one be able to create a process to be compatible with SONM? Will there be a public API to make programs able to work, to communicate with the SONM network?
Yeah, it would be. We will provide a group of different APIs for different things. For example, the most essential thing how to make your program work with SONM is to try to place it on Linux inside a Docker container. If that's fine, so your software or your application is already fine with SONM. It can be launched in one single instance or in many instances. If you would like to receive benefit from SONM, you may try to do scheduling or like load balancing on your application side and run multiple nodes and like spread the work on top of them. For example, you may use grid system, or you may use some existing orchestrators for your or load balancers. We will try to do this, yes. Technically and theoretically this could be possible, but I mean there are different approaches how you can make your application scalable, like horizontally scalable, and you can do this and then you can get benefits from SONM. And about APIs, one of the APIs is to search the market of the computational powers. Like this is one of the, again, about the differences from the other supercomputers on the blockchain. We have some distinct market. We have like the buy orders, the sale orders, we have the specification of the hardware, we have the price, we have the margin, we have the spread, we have everything like on exchange there. And there is an API for trading your computing resources there for a buyer or for a seller. So if you have a software that is managing some workload, like scalable application. It can use this API to buy resources on some network whenever it needs. For example, if you have an increase of traffic and for some like a time in the day where you have more customers, you may buy additional resources for that time using the API. Another API is to place tasks on the SONM. For example, whenever you have a bought resource, you have a resource ID, a deal ID, and then you can use the tasks API to place your Docker task on that deal, on that bought resource. So this is another kind of API. So we also have some internal APIs for locator services for internal marketplace, but they're hidden from the endpoint of the customer. And this is from the customer side. From the supplier side, we have an API to manage hub, to connect and disconnect workers, to set up their resources, to set up how you would split your hardware resources into slots on the market. There are some group of API, and we will soon publish it. So yes, this would be possible to use machine interaction with SONM, and this is what we are trying to do. For example, we will provide command line interface, we will provide API, and we will provide eventually a graphical user interface with a wallet. But this would be a matter of future development, because currently wallet will include working with tokens and Ethereum, but later it will include like graphical user interface for working with the exchange, but this would be later. So there would be different ways to interact with SONM and with API as well.
What about AON and SONM collaboration? Any updates, Eugenio?
On this one, at the moment, we are sticking with the latest press release that we had. So we have done, we have started already to look into it, to have this collaboration. We are working now to have it more advanced. But as I said, this is a part of the different priorities that the team is going through. Additional on this one, I don't have now any update.
You know, I would like to add something here. The ION, they're currently working on the pre-sale or ICO or whatever. They're quite successful at this moment, but they are still working, and there is some timing when they will launch their first network, their first public blockchain, and it will use proof of work. So we have an agreement that SONM will be able to provide hash power for the start of their network. So basically we are just waiting for them to start their blockchain. Until that, we don't have interaction. But perhaps I'm wrong, but as I remember, they are planning to start in the first quarter of the next year. So somewhere around that time, we will get back to our partnership when we will know. We're just waiting for them to say how many hashing power do they require, 1,000 weeks, more or less. So when we will know this, we will provide this. On the test network, we will bring by hand, we will bring the miners, which we already have an agreement with. We will provide them in amount required by Nuco, by ION, and this will be already working like in production mode on the test network. So
one more technical question. What's the point of creating a network supercomputer when a qubit quantum computer will outperform it? So is it have any sense to build our platform?
It won't outperform it. Like if you talk about quantum computing, this doesn't mean that they will replace existing computers. For example, I can explain it in technical or give you like a relative example. First, from the technical, when the quantum computer will appear, they already exist, but they're in small amounts and they can solve some tasks which require brute force on the general architecture. But the amount of this computer is low. They're currently in universities and in some companies. So yes, they can solve some tasks more efficiently, but they are in low amount, and they are in the early stage of the development. The number of qubits inside the quantum computer is relatively low at this moment, but their development very fast. But I don't think they will replace the common computers, because if you think about the number of computers in the world, there are billions of it, and they are solving really different tasks. And quantum computers won't replace it in the same way like helicopter is flying. it is superior to any car because it can fly on the top of the building. But helicopter didn't replace cars completely at this particular moment because cars are cheaper, they are more efficient, and you don't bring the bread or milk to a shop on a helicopter. The car is cheaper. So this is the same way that quantum computer won't replace general computing. They will indeed do some tasks that are currently unavailable for general computing, but for some years ahead, they will be doing some special tasks like breaking cryptography or other things. But the task, for example, to host a web server, quantum computer would not host your web server. Quantum computer would not host your gaming server. It would not do, for example, like rendering for you. It will not guess from 0 attempts what would be the perfect image for your 3D skin. You have to calculate it on general architecture. So quantum computer won't replace everything.
Can we say that it can probably integrate our network?
Yeah, in some degree. I mean that quantum computer gives some possibilities that are unimaginable at this moment, but they are not going to replace, at least in the upcoming a couple of years, they are not going to replace the common computers because of some reasons. So common computers would be there, just in the same way that cars and helicopters live at the same planet.
Okay.
They're just solving the different tasks. Car cannot fly on the top of the mountain, but helicopter can. But we don't need to fly on the top of the mountain every day. So this is just
clear now.
Okay.
Thank you. Will we have a Q&A next month like we had 3 months already? Guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we will have it.
Yeah, of course.
The timing is going to be right after the...
Now it's a regular monthly thing.
Every month we are happy to be here answering your calls to give actually updates on what we are doing.
And I'm actually glad that this time we have twice more viewers than the last. Thank you for watching us. Don't forget to subscribe on our channel so you don't miss any Q&A or new video.
Finish the questions? There was a question about the rating, I think, no?
There was. I will continue. Thank you.
Sorry.
Will some use Raiden network token to help scale? Yeah.
Again, we are closely watching for the Raiden network because this is one of the proposed solutions for Ethereum scaling. But at this moment, we need smart contracts, and the channel, like off-chain or side channel things, they do not solve the smart contracts thing we require. So, in some degree, we will have to do off-chain payments just to make fees smaller and to pay for gas smaller amounts. So we are closely watching, but not at this moment.
Okay, thank you. One more question. Last Q&A, there was a talk about a slider that allocates X% of the computing power instead of all or nothing.
I think we
How long after the main net could we see this one?
I think partially we already answered on this one.
I would like to add something here. You know, about the slider, this is a good question because slider makes it easy for a person to join the network and to provide his resources. But the question is, why should he? Why should a person provide his resources? Why should he do this? I think that the answer is, well, you know, the slider comes from the times from the Boeing system, like from the SETI at home and from the initially not monetized grid systems, where people use slider to give free resources of his computer for free. But now, if we talk about money, this is different, because if you would like to earn money, I think you either do it in full scale or you don't, because if you use a slider to give just a small amount of resources, the outcome would be really small. So if people would like to earn money, they will buy hardware especially for this. Like, you know, Ethereum miners or cryptocurrency miners, they are working 24/7. So they're doing this all the time, and only in that case they can expect to earn some money. So if we talk about slider, I would ask who will use it and why, and how will that benefit some if we talk about like time term deals.
Perhaps when we are going to implement a bit more in 2019 probably in let's say the fog computing, as we want to as a kind of end user, endpoint. Probably over there we might want to think about not only professionals, hardware supplier, but even amateur that can join us. But it's not just about the slider, because I agree with you, as you were saying before, that because the way we give we are giving suppliers, we are not actually giving one task. We are allocating a certain resource for a certain moment of time. Then we have to make sure this slider is a kind of one-off for a certain point. You get frozen. I want to give 20% of my computational power. Okay, but it has to be constant, because the customer who is expecting this. So that's why if you play with that, then we will not be able to match the contract requirements.
Yeah, and by the way, I forgot to mention that currently we are doing limited deals, like deals with a limited time term, like it has a time term, but we are thinking about to provide a spot market for computational powers. But even in that case, you don't have a slider, because even on the spot market, you give an offer for at least some minutes ahead. So for example, if you rent a spot, you have some guaranteed small amount of time, a number of minutes or a number of hours, until you will be asked to leave if the supplier wants to. So in that case, this slider would work this way. So you pull it back, and then it has some time to be spent just to deliver the message to the customer that they have to leave. So anyway, this won't work just an instant slider. This is a little bit different. Even for the spot market, you have an obligation for at least some minutes.
And then when we will have actually some rating system that is going to be live, if I'm thinking, if I am a customer, I will have a list of people who are giving, people or suppliers who are providing reliable, strong hardware versus others, and I am a professional who actually is going to use the hardware. I want to have certain basis in which I can have my answer. So that's why within probably the let's say the overall scheme, we will be able to, these are kind of other amateurish provider or supplier are going probably to have a lower obviously priority versus the professional hardware providers. However, I will not completely now put it out. It's something that because of our approach that is going to be step by step, we started in a certain way, at least to have the core one. And then in 2019, obviously, we will also look into it when we are growing, the team is going to be stronger, but now we want to focus more on, let's say, a more B2B environment. Yeah,
and one more thing, like, imagine you have a home computer. Imagine if you have one GPU there and it earns, for example, $30 per month, and totally your computer with your CPU and with your disk and network can earn totally whatever, half $100, $50 per month if you use it 24/7. So then imagine two cases. First, you use it 24/7 and you earn $50, and this is something you can at least, you can just feel it. You feel it.
$50 a day?
No, a month.
A month, $50 a month, just an estimation. Then imagine you have a common operating system and you work there and use the slider. And if you use it as a slider and give it a couple of free resources, the outcome could be $5 per month. So of course, and some people, it would be easier for some people to join. This is the path that Golem is approaching. They have a really beautiful interface with the slider, and this is great from the user experience, and this is easy for people to join. But then think about the outcome of the economic of the situation. The people will use slider and will earn $5 per month, but could be 50. So they will play for a month or two and then ask, so why should I use a slider? I don't need $5. I either don't need it at all, because $5 is nothing related to 50. I will either go to 50 or I will play with it and then switch it off, because.
But the beauty of this is that still, there is still some time to actually define this, because in the sense that yes, the approach we start as Igor said, we start with no slider. In the future, we might think about this. Now I cannot commit about it.
Yeah.
But I can tell you why, for my point of view, and we are having a discussion. It's nice because these are actually your questions that you are having are also questions that you are having here, and this kind of work in progress. Because the $5 might be for a professional who earns money from that hardware is not enough. But for a guy, for example, who wants to pay the subscription for the particular services ongoing, or to give, for example, his computational power to solve things which are related to environmental subscription, for example, for environmental protection, and these are $50 a year, so $5 a month might be enough. But yes, this is something that
I agree with you, but again, this is about earning money and about customers. When we think about and when we research currently our possible customers, for example, for machine learning and for rendering, we estimate, for example, the possible resources set, and each of them have at least one core or some gigabytes of memory. So this is not a slider like a slightly moving slider. This is some distinct set of resources. So I don't think that we will have customers willing to pay money for this slightly moving thing. They will pay for some distinct amount of resources for a time term. And another thing that we should optimize our system. For our case, not using slider is good for providing infrastructure. This is our case. Golem is doing great system. I mean that everything in their design works together. They pay for tasks execution. So for their case, the slider is a good solution. This is a fine solution, by the way. But this is just not our case as we see it. Okay? Okay. Just give me a second. Go on.
Okay, we ran out of questions on my lists, and I will read questions from YouTube chat. And we have 10 minutes to answer questions
additional
from chat.
Questions. Yeah. New one, huh?
Yeah, new. What is the benefit of having the SONM token distributed via exchanges and not just sold on the SONM website?
I think that there is no difference in buying on the ICO, on exchange, or whatever else. You just either have SONM token or you don't.
Obviously, this is an impact on the price itself.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you sell this on a website, yes, you can have a logic in which they increase it. But the thing is that by having actually listed in overall different exchanges, you can have actually access to the same asset better than just having people going to your website and buying it. I think it's just a matter of kind of providing more liquidity, and the possibility of this token is more liquid. So easy to access gas for actually computational power. And also, let's say that we are a company which has been founded on in a certain way with certain logic, and we are part, let's say, of the cryptocurrency. So all this system is embedded in these markets. And so I see nothing actually wrong of people going directly on the exchanges and buying us. Also to give, I would say, a good reward to the investors and people who believe in us actually can, in which the cost of the price of our token can actually go up.
Will SON pay dividends, or will there be an incentive to hold SONM tokens outside of
At the moment, regarding the dividends, no. We are thinking actually about which is the right logic actually to receive revenue out of the as company out of the what we are having in terms of system, but we are not providing dividends now. The appreciation of our job is going to be reflected on the token. So that's why it's another way of why we are going to the market exchange. So if we're good, if we actually are attracting more people, more customers to our platform, this will be reflected in the number of people, additional number of people which really are going to ask for our token to fuel their customer, and then actually the price is going to up, and this is actually the revenue, reflected the revenue that you will get out of having the token.
No, I think about this question, there is no sense talking about this until we go to Leaf system, because this is just too early to talk about this, because this question is complex. There are different things around these questions, and anyway, until we go to live network, until we do some things, this is just too early to discuss this. So I think
at least for the next 6 months, the next one we will be not actually tackling this.
Yeah,
the test phase.
there are a couple of things that have to be solved on that direction. So we better talk about this later. At this point, this is there are some questions around this. So we'll talk about
please
this.
come back in the frame. Yeah. So look, your shoulder is out of the frame. Okay.
Next one.
Next one. There was a technical. When SONM will be listed in Bittrex? When? Moon.
This is a recurrent question we receive. I mean, as I said before, there will be a top 10 coming soon. So you will see which one is going to be, and you will be happy about it.
Okay, how does SONM handle a failing resource provider? What if someone that's offering you competing power suddenly disconnects or somehow fools SONM by pretending he has more power than he actually has? Igor, can you handle it?
Yeah, we've already answered this a couple of times in the chat, but okay, we'll talk about this again. At least this is a technical question, not about Bittrex, so this is fine. The question is complex. First, people, the suppliers, they will have economic incentive to provide the resources as it was agreed in the deal and not to violate the deal terms. Otherwise, they will receive penalties into their reputation and this will hurt their income. So the solution is economic. So this is about providing incentive to obey the rules and make penalties for not doing this. Another thing, we will have a rating system and we will have a checks facility checking the suppliers, how do they behave, and there are a couple of thoughts there and we are currently doing research on this base. We have different options here, we are just currently estimating which and how would work better. Until summer we have some time to do this because we are planning to launch it in summer in full scale. Until then, we have some time to do this. So there would be ratings, there would be checks, there would be economic incentive to behave in a right manner. What else? There would be an option for a customer to open dispute or to raise a claim if he thinks that his resources were provided badly. There would be some SLA, the availability time and the reliability thing. Availability is that a time amount during which the hub or worker is online with your task, and it may sometimes go offline. If your task is working, this is fine if it's inside the SLA agreement. And another one is the reliability. There is a chance that the execution will fail. This may happen anywhere, even on the top cloud computers, computer providers. And the answer is that in the recent years, when architecture was monolithic, when there were like monolithic databases like Oracle and soft around them, people were building reliable architecture and they could not withstand a fail. Now the architecture already scales horizontally and on the application level, people are already solving the failure of a single node. So this should be fine for the industry trend. So this is about it. I mean that the current reliability level of cloud hosting computer companies, for some cases, this is excessive. For example, I mean that anyway, the application owners, they have on the application side a ways to withstand a failure. So if they do have, so this should be fine. We will provide just a different probability of the failure. On cloud computers, the probability is 1. On our case, it will be just a little bit bigger, but it's not big really because of the other measures.
Guys, sorry for the noise that you hear. Sometimes we don't know where it comes from, so we will solve it next time. Sorry. Next question from live chat. Can you have any kind of partnership with Tezos? Can you?
If Tezos is to develop what they are promising according to their white paper. There could be some partnership, but if they do, there would be some time ahead until they even launch something for the test network, because they will have a different language for smart contract. They will have a completely different architecture. At the point of their ICO and the white paper, I have learned it, and they have to do the thing. And we cannot even consider this about estimate until we see the really working system, because Ethereum is really working for almost 3 years at this moment. So 3 years compared to, at this moment, 0 years, this is a huge difference. We can estimate it and evaluate it, but they have first to do this. On the level of their promises and their white paper, this sounds fine, this could scale. This sounds like Eternity or Tezos, they could solve the scalability. But first, we would like to see a working system, because we need to do a working product. We are not for hype, we are for working things. So currently Ethereum is working. It has some traits, it has some bugs sometimes, it has some problems, but it's working. And this is something we really like about it. So Tezos is fine, just let's wait what they will do.
Okay, question from Max Carter. When SONM visit the United States, Eugenio, can you?
Well, actually, we already visited. We were present in Santa Clara blockchain conference 2 weeks ago. Obviously, we will come back to that, to US, because we know it is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, let's say, market in terms of computational power, in terms of ideas. And I would say that we have at least 3 to 4 major conferences that we are planning to attend in the next future in the US, in New York, in California again. Probably there is also something that's happening in Texas. So we are all in to actually to be present in the US. We're already there. We have also actually people already in California that are representing us. We are expanding our presence over there, and as I said, there will, all the major conferences that will be held in the US will be present. So wait for another couple of weeks in which we are going to post the list of conferences, and you will see which one are the one that will be in the next future.
Who do you see as a provider in terms of computing power? Larger companies, 10 to 100 PCs high, performance personal computers, or smaller devices?
Everyone.
The
good system about the good news about our system is that we try to make it universal. We will connect crypto miners, home PCs, small companies, medium companies, big companies, cloud hosting companies, any kind of other software. So we will go for all of them, and we will see who will provide more resources. For home computers, there would be some nice price, I think. For mining, there would be some nice GPUs. For when cloud hosting computers have some excessive resources, they can sell it to SONM. This would be branded resources. You can trust your privacy to them. So all of them will have their benefits. Price, GPUs, trust, whatever. So all. Yeah,
the only requirement now, we are saying at the moment, that they will have to be committed to us. This is the only thing. But yeah, that's actually the great thing of what we are going to implement here, that is we are already implementing. That is actually our excellent scalability. Everybody needs to be part of SONM, and this is our dream, and this is what we are going to do.
Okay guys, the last question. You guys are cool with the audit? Expected better or worse?
No, we are with the audit of the smart contract.
Yes.
No, this one it was cool.
Cool.
Was cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. This was successful. Yeah. I'll read the audit.
Are you going to fix the issue that they pointed?
It's too late to fix this issue. I mean that.
Is there any importance in this?
You know, the audits stated that everything is fine, and they had one proposal to fix something inside a smart contract, but this smart contract is already deployed as a token, so it's not a vulnerability, it's not a bug, it's just something that could be a little bit better, but this is completely fine, completely secure and working, so this is fine.
Okay, thank you, Igor. Thank you, Eugenia. Thank you for watching us. We are about to finish this session. Subscribe to our channel, don't miss any news and videos. See you next month. We are preparing some season greetings and stay tuned, don't miss our greetings. Bye.
Ciao guys.
Bye bye.